Bitcoin is gearing up for another drop to the downside. In today's video, we're going to be jumping down into the charts, taking a look at what's been going on with Bitcoin and where I think things are heading. Let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Bitcoin video update. A little bit different. Normally I'm out on the walk and talk video, kind of walking through the woods, sharing my thoughts and opinions on what's going on. Fortunately, a flu seems to have got me, so I am trying to kind of get a little bit of rest, staying inside for today. And so I thought let's just do a brief update on what's going on with Bitcoin, what is going on with cryptocurrency by taking a look at the charts. So let's get right down into it. Let's kick things off here with Bitcoin on the 1 hour, right? So following on from this morning's video, if you haven't yet checked it out, I do urge you guys to check it out. I'll go through a lot more detail there. But we were targeting out this upper area just here. Essentially, this range is $43,500 to $43,927. More specifically, as you guys can kind of tell right up here, this is the area of the 200 EMA on the hourly chart, coming in at 43,945. Now, what we're looking for here is for Bitcoin to kind of push up just a fraction more if it can into this area where it's likely to get rejected. This rejection is going to be taking it down a little bit deeper. Now, following on from this morning's video, we said it was a bit sideways. We needed to wait for confirmation. We were looking for either a break down lower than 41,500 or a break higher than 43,257. Well, we broke up higher. This essentially meant that we are, in fact, yes, targeting out that slightly higher range where once complete, we look for the next move to the downside. Now, in this morning's video, we did discuss the wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, all of this being a wave 4, and then dropping into that final fifth wave movement. Now, our minimum expectations have been met with the wave 4, with our most recent high coming in here on the 1800 UTC wick. This was $43,400. Now, we can, of course, push up into our higher range, this yellow box area, the 200 EMA, if it needs to. If it doesn't push that high, it's okay because we've already met the minimum expectations of what a wave 4 here should do. Okay, so in the case of what we're going to reflect on here is I'm going to draw a Fibonacci retracement tool based on the existing wave 3 low and wave 4 high. The higher that wave 4 goes, the lower that the wave 5 will. So we're going to use this as a bit of a conservative movement for Bitcoin here. Okay, so we are going to be targeting out this little area to the downside. Okay, it's going to basically be between 40,367 and 41,063, based on, of course, the current wick high that we have on our wave 4. Okay, so this is going to be that imminent drop. This is the area that we're looking for Bitcoin to drop down into. This is going to be a short-term play that is then going to allow Bitcoin to actually grow more towards $46,000 on the kind of short to medium term. So what I mean by this is we have a quick move down here, probably over the next kind of 24, 48 hours, and then from this low on the wave 5, we can actually get a much stronger bounce to the upside, where I would be looking at kind of around this upper area just here of $45,500 to $46,000. This will be a significant relief rally that I think the market is going to be needing after this kind of move to the downside on Bitcoin, right? Because we will be talking about Bitcoin at this point coming down towards a 16 to 18% to the downside, okay, over a very short period of time since the Bitcoin spot ETF news broke. So this sell the news event has been quite deep at the moment, 15 or so percent, but we still think it's got actually a lot further to go. And so what we see here for Bitcoin is the idea of completing this structure. Once we complete this structure, we'll then start to think about moves to the downside, well, to the upside, then to the downside once again. Okay, if we throw on smart money concepts, you can also see the equilibrium and these fair value gaps were left behind are all around that $45,000 area as well. So we'll be able to tick quite a few boxes by moving up into this range. We can also see that the change of characterization here on the smart money concepts. This is basically telling us that the smart money concept structures are bearish. The Elliott wave theory structures, that's the 5-wave move, are showing us with bearish patterns. And of course, the price action being below the 200 hourly EMA is also sharing bearish characteristics. Ultimately, it's very hard to be bullish on the 1 hour time frame. However, all of these things that we are seeing and noting inside the hourly price chart is actually getting us into that bullish mode. Just not yet. We need to see a little bit of volatility to the downside, and then we can start to think about those long positions. The move to the upside here could potentially lead us of around 10%, a 10% relief rally for Bitcoin after seeing about 17.5 to the downside. This could be pretty phenomenal for traders to be trading in and out of BTC and some of those alts at the same time. If we roll this up into our hourly chart, our daily chart, you can see again, we are just at the moment above that 50 SMA, that's the yellow line, with the red line being the 50 EMA. The closure below the 50 EMA is concerning to a degree. A little bit of volatility here, and we could be starting to see a bit of a shift and a bit of a change when it comes to the daily time frame. Ultimately, though, I am still looking at these higher ranges here as areas that we are likely to revisit. There's going to be some areas of resistance up here, and these are areas that I think we have to be retesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we do tap into $46,000 before we start to see that next big correction to the downside. Our stochastic RSI does need to move back towards the overbought range, and I think a $46,000 move would potentially put that right up there in that higher range where we would need it to see a big move then to the downside afterwards. So to kind of summarize this just a little bit, I know I'm kind of mixing my words a little bit here, so I'm trying to gather my thoughts with the foggy flu-based mind that I have, but ultimately I'm expecting some short-term volatility to the downside, a little bit of short to medium-term moves to the upside, $46,000, and then from there we can move back down towards the $40,000 support lines, and chances are they're probably not going to hold in the way that we want them to. So, on our kind of medium term, we are still looking for more moves to the downside. That hasn't changed. And so if we are to complete out this 5-wave bearish pattern on Elliott wave theory here, the structured moves to the downside, we should be looking for a 3-wave corrective move up towards kind of $46,000. This will then be coupled up again with another 5-wave move where I expect us to be testing $37,000 to $38,000, this lower range down here. This would complete a zigzag pattern, an A, B, and C pattern. This essentially will basically allow us then to have a bit more growth back to the upside, where we might then actually get ourselves with another relief rally before collapsing down even further. Ultimately, if we can kind of find brief support on this 200 daily EMA at this point in time, and again, we are talking several weeks in advance here. Okay, so this is not something that's going to be quick. We're going to see a quick move to the downside, probably another week or two, pushing up into a 10% relief rally, and then another probably week or so, 2 weeks to the downside. So we could be, probably 4 to 6 weeks out before we test kind of $37,000, $38,000. And at that point, I do expect our 200 daily EMA to be over here in this range as well. And so brief support to be found that will help the bulls feel a little bit more confident. It will give us a pretty good bullish bounce from some good fundamental strong areas such as the 200 daily EMA, and we can start thinking about those pushes back to the upside, getting above $40,000. And you'll probably see some of the bulls in the market kind of rallying up, saying $50,000 is just around the corner. These kind of things. These are the kind of things that will probably happen when we bounce from that 200 daily EMA. You can kind of pin this and say that I was talking about it on the 15th of January, a few weeks, if not months ahead of time. Ultimately, though, what I expect to happen will be a relief rally from that 200 daily EMA. And I do think once we kind of get resistance again up at around 40, maybe 43,000, as we've done a lot of consolidation around there, we will be looking to lose the 200 daily EMA as support. And ultimately our target range where I find the maximum amount of support to be found at the moment being $30,000 to $32,000, and that's going to be the area where I think we have the strongest possibility of actually getting a proper reversal in the market. So for Bitcoin, we are definitely in interesting times. We can see on the smaller time frames an imminent drop is coming here. It won't be a massive movement. We are talking probably a 5% reduction in the Bitcoin price action. But ultimately, after that's done, we should be looking for a more significant bounce to the upside of around 10%. Lose that, and then, of course, I think we're talking about another 20% drop from there. That gets us towards kind of that $35,000, $37,000 key area, with 38 being a very interesting price point for BTC. I think there's a lot to kind of play for in the market generally. I think Bitcoin and crypto is definitely the place to be. This is ultimately one of those opportunities to dollar cost average, build out your positions as we see these corrective price actions occur within the price action of your favorite cryptocurrencies. Ultimately, I'm pretty bullish on crypto long term, but we have to take the good with the bad. And I do think this is a huge opportunity as price starts to pull back, as people start to fear that there might be even further for Bitcoin to tumble, that they start selling their assets. I want to be buying those assets. I want to be buying that fear that is up for sale. And as this first quarter, Q1 of 2024 really kicks off. You can let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And why not check out this video right here, where I actually discuss the technical analysis on Bitcoin in a lot more detail.